Hello and welcome. Much attention is given to pipes when designing a water scheme, but the truth is that if you get your tank locations, elevations and numbers right, you open the floodgates for pipe and pumping economies. Nothing in a water scheme has the potential of saving your project so much money both in investment and running costs. In that sense, tanks are your best ally in water scheme design. In this video, you will learn how to leverage 3 simple ideas to get massive economies. The 3 laws of tank ticks, if you will. 1. Keep them close. 2. Keep them low. And 3. Divide and conquer. Rule number 1, keep them close. The first idea here is that the tanks are installed to regulate flow. That means that the peak flow leaving the tank is easily 2 or 3 times the average flow entering, thus requiring a bigger pipe to handle it. So you want to cover the maximum distance with the smaller diameter, cheaper pipe. Here, for a single kilometer of 4-inch line, the difference is $16,000. The bigger the pipe, the bigger the difference. A second related idea is that for the same target pressure, tanks that are nearer allow bigger head losses, and the distribution system can also use smaller diameter pipes. Ideally, you would like to place your tank in the center of a distribution area. So a way to see tanks is as each dominating an area. But not always there's the adequate ground and they're not the easiest on the eye. That is, unless you want to make them a feature, a billboard, or use camouflage. Rule number 2, keep them low when you pump. It's pretty straightforward. Double the elevation and you will double the pumping costs. A few meters over the lifespan of the project can have a dramatic effect. You should always strive to lower the tanks as much as possible. Rule number 3, divide and conquer. We're frequently fixed with the idea of one beautiful big tank, and it is true that size brings economies. If you double the size of the tank, usually costs only increase about 60 to 70%, but there are at least 2 very good reasons to divide. The first one is that you always want to have bidirectional flow. If you can have water coming from several directions to a point, you can both divide the travel distance and distribute the flows between several pipes. This leads to smaller diameter pipes and big savings in the project. The workhorse of this idea is the floating tank, a tank with only one pipe that will fill when demand is low and discharge when demand is high. To use a car analogy, by having a substantial portion of the water travel at night, pipes have lighter traffic during the day. Let's see this at work with a system with a head tank and a tail tank. The system's working fine and you can see bidirectional flow. Now, bidirectional flow doesn't mean that each and every node has to have 2 beautiful arrows going in. Most nodes won't. It's about areas, not nodes. When we suppress the tail tank, the right part sinks into the blue of low and negative pressure. To fix a system like that, you would have to increase the pipe diameter significantly. The second idea of divide and conquer is that you don't have to pump all the water to a high reservoir to serve a fraction of consumers at a high area. Why pump 100% of the water? It would be a waste of 80% of the energy. Combined with pressure zoning, having a high and a low reservoir can save you a lot of money in pumping costs. Take a look at this example. Just splitting the tanks and lowering the bigger one saves $300,000. You can build a lot of water tank with that. Before you go, two more quick important ideas. The first one, tanks depressurize water. Please never ever do these. Pumps are actually happier taking the water from a pressurized pipe than from a tank. You don't need to put a tank. Also, frequently there are different hourly rates for energy. In pump systems, you can use a tank as energy storage and take advantage of cheaper prices, usually at night. That may seem like peanuts, but don't let yourself be fooled. Over the lifespan of the project, the economies will pay for the extra tank size needed several times over and provide a better fire and breakdown reserve. That's it. I hope you found it useful. Here's the recap.